Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to yet another speed build video. Doing something a little bit different today. I am doing my very first shell challenge. This shell challenge is by RHYS YT on Twitter. We follow each other and I came across his house shell challenge post this morning and his deadline was for the builds to be finished by tomorrow. So I decided to take part in this because I've been wanting to find a shell challenge for a while and I really like the look of his shell. I briefly showed it just at the start of the video there and it's just a healthy looking shell. It's a nice shape and I knew that I could build a really nice family home from this shell. So I will link all of his socials down below and his gallery ID as well, just in case you want to partake in the challenge, even though it may well be if you partake in it the entries are closed. But you know, I think it's still worth doing because it's quite an interesting concept really, a shell challenge, because you're not allowed to change any of the exterior walls. You're not allowed to add onto the build, as in I couldn't have added like an extension as it were, but I do add a wraparound porch, but I checked with Reese before I did this and he said it was okay. I don't know if all shell challenges are like this, I can't speak for everybody, but technically I didn't change the external structure. It's just adding a deck and then obviously a roofing piece. And I wasn't keen on the build for quite a blah blah blah. Every time I start a voiceover I do this. I wasn't too keen on the build. Around this time I kind of liked the colour scheme, but there was something about it that just wasn't speaking to me. Obviously not physically speaking to me, but it wasn't doing anything for me. And I touched on this in my last video, but if a build isn't resonating with me, I usually ditch it. But I really wanted to give this a go. So I had some of these like floral details from, I think they're from Jungle Adventure. And they're so pretty. And I used to use them in pretty much all of my builds when I first started really getting into building. And I haven't used them for a while, so I thought they might look kind of nice against the black and the brown and the brickwork there, and I think it looks quite nice and homey and bright and inviting, and that's kind of the vibe that I wanted to go for with this house. It ended up being a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom build. There's also a small office downstairs. There's a laundry room just off the kitchen, so it's a very decent size. I think from start to finish this maybe took me, I think realistically maybe 2.5 hours to complete, so not too bad at all really. And considering I really did mess around with the exterior of this build a lot, you'll see here, I'm trying to add these like extra bits just because at this point I was still not too keen on the build, and I was trying to add these bits like these details, just anything to sort of bring it to life, because it wasn't doing anything for me even now. And I'm just trying to bring the purple from the house into the garden as well, just to try and link them together, which I think I did here. And I've started doing like these cute like rockery sort of landscaping points around front of houses because I think they look really, really nice. So yeah, it was around about here when I started to like the front of the build, so I just decided to continue on working with it really and working on the sides of the house. The back garden and the back of the house is actually really plain. I tried to add the purple floral details to the back and it just didn't, for some reason it just didn't look right, so I decided to just leave it plain. And whether that was the right thing to do or not, I don't know. It felt like the right thing at the time, but I think looking back on it I could have maybe done a little bit more with the back of the house. The back garden is like most of my back gardens, it's quite small, it's quite sad looking. I am not the best at doing back gardens. It's something I really want to work on and get better at, but for now if you download my houses that I'm currently building, I'm sorry, the back gardens are nothing to shout about, so I'm sorry about that. But the rest of the house is generally okay, so I think that kind of makes up for it. And I had this really nice sort of path up to the front of the house with rocks and plants on either side, which I thought looked rather nice, something that I don't think ever done before. So yeah, again, just trying new things, because I say it in every video that I do, I like trying new things. It's how you build, it's how you grow, it's how you get better. So yeah, we end up actually doing the entire wraparound porch pretty much around the 3/4 of the house. Obviously not the right hand side of the house because there was barely any space, but the rest of it does have a wraparound porch, so it works out quite nicely. As you can see, the back garden is not very big at all, but that was done on purpose, because the less space I have to do a back garden, the better, really, because I'm hopeless. I definitely want to work on that. Definitely. So I think the next house I do, I'm really going to try with it. I'll do a pool, I'll do a pergola thing, I'll put a hot tub in there, whatever I need to do to get it right, really. So I was just having a look around the house just to gauge an idea of the size of it, because I started this and didn't really sort of take in the size of it and the layout and what I could put where. Initially I wanted to do a bedroom downstairs, but the way it worked out with the office turned out much better, because the office really is quite small. You'll see that in a moment here, and it was too small to be a bedroom, so I'm glad I went with the office. And I'm also glad we put a laundry room and a downstairs toilet down here as well. The entryway is quite large, so that's nice. We leave like a sort of like an open doorway. Why can't I think of what to call them? A door frame with no door? I don't know. Someone's going to be telling me in the comments, I am sure. But as always, doing the kitchen first, because it's one of my favourite rooms to decorate. And as always, leaving not much room for the living room. I promised in my last build that I would stop doing this. I haven't. I'm sorry. But it's just the way that I'm working at the moment. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But one thing I definitely wanted to bring with this house was that family feeling, because it is a family home, and I wanted to bring that warmth and that sort of closeness into the build. So I think we achieved that with this. Again, a lot of indecisiveness while I'm doing this, and for some reason when I'm recording, I home in on objects that I've never used before, and I just see what they look like. I feel like I've never done this before I started recording my builds, but it's something I've started doing recently. I don't know if anyone else does that. You're sort of recording, and then you forget you're recording for a minute, and you see an item, and you sort of think, oh, I've never seen that before, so I'm just going to see what that looks like. So if you see me randomly sort of looking at an item and you're thinking, oh no, I hope she doesn't place that, 9 times out of 10 I'm not going to place it. I'm just having a look because it's something that I've never seen before. So I know it's a very strange thing, but clearly it's something that I've just started doing since I've started doing my speed builds. I also realised while I was doing this that a lot of the tiny living items are quite hard to find just in the general catalogue area. I feel like you have to filter the categories for the tiny living to get the tiny living items. I don't know if I'm the only one who thinks this, unless I'm just not finding them properly. I don't know, but I'm finding that kind of frustrating, really, because I just like that sort of unit, that shelving unit above the cooker. I can't seem to find that anywhere unless I apply the tiny living filter, which I find quite annoying, but that's probably something that I'm doing wrong rather than there's something wrong with the game. So we keep the main sort of items in this house quite neutral, but then we add like pops of colour here and there just to brighten it up a bit, because I'm yet to do a neutral toned build. I don't know whether that's just something that I maybe need to work on, or whether I'm just such a fan of colour in houses that I find it difficult not to add colour into them. So it's much more comfortable for me to add the colour rather than not adding the colour. I have so much respect for people who can build and decorate houses that are mainly like creams, whites and blacks and make it look good and eye-catching, because I can't do that. My builds definitely have to have those pops of colour. Not saying it's a bad thing with the colour, just maybe it's something that I possibly need to have a play around with, is the more neutral tones and just staying a little bit more natural. But we'll see. I'm not gonna change my building and decorating style, because my building and decorating style is sort of what makes me, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Now I'm rambling. I think we should start talking about this massive heat wave that seems to have hit us really hard in the UK. I'm having a hard time with it. It's again, wow, I'm recording just before 9 p.m, so the office is slightly cooler than it was this morning, but really not by much. The fan is on the floor but is not switched on, so I am so warm right now. I almost didn't do this voiceover today, but I really wanted to. I was in the frame of mind, so I thought, let's just sit down and do it. And now I can't work out if I'm regretting it or not. I genuinely can't work that out. I have a a pink lemonade and gin to my left, so I suppose it's not that bad. But how are you guys coping with the heat wave? Because I don't think I'm coping very well at all. I just seem to be complaining about it a lot, and I'm just ready for autumn to come. Autumn and winter are my comfortable seasons. Autumn is my favourite season. The colours and the clothes and everything, I am a massive fan. So I'm ready for summer to be over. I don't know how everyone else is feeling about that. You know, drop a comment in the comment section below. And are you feeling like me? Are you feeling like you're kind of over this summer weather? I think the most annoying thing for me is that it's muggy warm. It's just so sticky. It's not a nice warm. Like, there's not really that much sunshine going on. There's just a lot of mugginess, and it's so irritating. And I feel like we need a massive thunderstorm to like release some of the pressure in the air to allow us to breathe again. But where we live, we're still waiting for that thunderstorm. So it's a little bit annoying, really. But I suppose before we know it, it will be autumn. That's all I keep saying to myself. You know, it's September next month, which, as far as I'm concerned, that marks the start of autumn. So I can't wait for that. I can't wait to do some Halloween builds for you guys. I'm so excited. I've already got some ideas planned for that as well. So I'm very ready for that. Just going back to the build here. This hallway is quite an odd shape, but it was very important to me that it was quite an open, it's not large hallway, I don't think, it's just like medium sized, but it was quite important to me that was part of this build. And a lot of my builds, actually, 'cause we talk about this a lot, but if you've got a larger hallway, I just think it opens up the build so much more, and it doesn't make it look as close. But the office here is small but functional, you know, so it's definitely functional. It's fine for what it is. I suppose you could turn it into like a baby's room, but my only issue with that was in real life, in reality, you wouldn't have a nursery or a baby's room downstairs when everyone else sleeps upstairs, because it's not safe, which is why I turned it into an office. You know, I think you could maybe have it as a single bedroom, but you could literally just fit a bedside table, and then maybe a few cluttery items. So it's definitely not designed to be a single bedroom. It's more designed to be an office. But that was my intention before going into this build, when I was sort of planning out in my head. And upstairs we managed to fit 3 bedrooms and a main bathroom. So unfortunately this build does not have an ensuite for the master bedroom. The master bedroom is actually quite small, but it was more important to me to fit the 3 bedrooms in, because I could have made the master bedroom bigger, but I feel like if I'd have done that, it would have just been a 2-bedroom build, and it was very important to me for it to be 3 bedrooms. I am sure anyone else who has taken part in this shell challenge, that's a bit of a mouthful, has done a much better job than me at designing the floor plan, because floor plans, like my gardens, are a weakness of mine. I'm getting better with it, definitely, but I do still have a hard time sometimes sort of deciding what should go where and how to utilize the space as best I can. I think with this one, the hallway is quite large, but it needed to be so that you've got access to all the rooms. And I also debated with the idea of whether or not to move that window on the left there, because the wall goes through it about 2/3 of the way down, which is really irritating. But the window is in the center of the external wall, so if I'd have moved it over to the right like I wanted to, it would have just looked odd. So I just decided to sort of put like a little box there, which I suppose you could use as like a column, because I feel like in real life most houses, like, there could be wiring in there, and it's just more realistic. I think we've got like an area like that in our living room, and we've no idea what's behind it. So let's just say it was intentional, even though it completely wasn't. I just thought I'd make the best of a bad situation. We actually did, this is a toddler's room, which is something that I don't usually put in my builds, but I didn't want to have... Initially, I was going to do it as like a teen room or like a university student's room, but then I realised that it would probably be better suited for a toddler just because of the size of it. The other bedroom ends up being a twin children's room, which is something that 90% of my builds have. I enjoy doing them very, very much, and this was no exception. And then I also realised as I was doing the toddler's room, I thought there's no high chair downstairs. So I had to go downstairs and put a high chair in the kitchen. I'll be completely honest, as much as I play tested this with an adult sim, I did not bring a toddler sim into the build to see if that was usable. I do apologise if there's any routing issues. That is completely on me. It might just need to be moved, but it looked like it would probably work. So fingers crossed. If it doesn't, I do apologise though. Just working on the main bathroom here. As I said, we just didn't have room for an ensuite in this build, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. We've still got a family bathroom, and it is located sort of in between all the bedrooms, so it's very easily accessible to all the Sims from all their bedrooms. So it's not a bad thing at all. And with this room, I kind of did like a hint of a space theme, just a hint, not too much, but just enough. I don't do it enough, and the reason that I did it is because I found that partition sort of like wooden object with the space on it and with the clothes hung over it from Parenthood, I think that item's from. And it's been a while since I used it, so I basically built this entire room just around that room divider, which I find quite weird, but I'm not sorry. The room turned out quite cute. I think I could have done a little bit more with it, but I think the heat started to really get to me because I actually built this around tea time this evening, and the heat in this office was just almost unbearable. So I think it was just starting to get to me, and I just wanted to sort of get it done and get it uploaded and sorted. And I feel like I maybe rushed the ends of this build, which is maybe another reason that the back garden didn't turn out very nicely. So I do apologise, but I am really having a hard time at the moment with this weather. So hopefully when it comes to autumn and winter, I'll be much more comfortable. I can sit here with a hot chocolate, I can have the heating on in the office, and it'll just be a lot better for everybody. So with this, I wanted to try and hide as much of that window as possible, because obviously, as we talked about earlier, it's probably not a third of it, probably just under a third of it is covered by that sort of wall partition. So I wanted to try and hide that as best I could, but I don't know if that really worked out. I think you can probably see that I was trying to hide a mistake there, but oh well, I did my best. so I'm sorry. But yeah, just sort of cluttering up the hallway and just making sure it's nice. And then I add a few items onto the wraparound porch. So we put like some sun loungers on there, some like little sort of back garden items. There's some items in the garden for the kids to play on. So it's definitely family friendly. Every sim has something to do in this house, which is good. But you know, there's a barbecue, table goes in. Just please ignore the fact that it's not the nicest looking garden in the world. I'm so sorry for that. This nice seating area goes in though. I quite like this. This looks quite nice. So I suppose that's something, right? If you would like to download this build, it is now available to download from the gallery under my origin ID, which is RachelPedd. Details can be found in the description below. You can also download the tray files via Sim File Share. There is a link below as well. I'll also link RHYS's socials and details of the shell challenge, just in case you would like to participate in it. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Screenshots are to follow, and I'll see you next time. Bye!